Hey man, so I'm just reading through your question now. I'm going to read it out loud just so I can wrap my head around it and just respond by letting what comes through come through. So you've said, wow, interesting correlation because I'm honestly not motivated by anything anymore. I don't know if that's because I haven't found my purpose or because I gravitate towards concepts of renunciation and abandoning worldly desires when I read into religion and philosophy. I often fantasize about leaving society and going into the wilderness alone to disappear, to look for truth and be alone with God, inevitably to die. But I don't know if that's a spiritual calling or depression talking. So, man, this is a pretty heavy question, and I have honestly felt this way in my life before. First, I just want to say the essence of where you're coming from when you're asking me this question is right and true. Okay, you have this feeling that you want to be alone, to disappear, to look for truth, to be alone with God. But the solution, the expression of how this looks to you, the way that your mind is formulating this inner deep desire that you have, is to break away and run away from the society, to go into the wilderness alone. Okay? This, I don't believe, is the right way to go about it. I don't want to dismiss the root issue that you have, which is to want to disappear and be alone with God. But I disagree with the way that that's being expressed. So, first things first, when we are feeling bonded and trapped, our immediate response to that is to want to jump to the other end of that duality, to go to the other side of the spectrum. So I'm feeling bonded and trapped here in society. I want to run away from the society and get as far away as I can and be alone. Now, I'm telling you, that doesn't help. I have learned in my experience that that doesn't help. I've met sadhus in India, you would have seen in Dakota's video, where I'm telling you that doesn't help. They've gone out into the jungle, yet their attachments and desires are still remaining, regardless of how holy they appear in their orange robes, chanting God's name, etc. They're just like us. They're just like us, okay? So what we really want to understand is the root desire, which is that you want to be alone, you want to disappear, and your way of coming to that is to run away from everything. So, why? Why do you want to get away from everything? It surely has to do with this feeling of not really liking who you are within the society. And why is that? Why are you not happy with who you are in relation to the society, which is, in other words, what is the society to you? It's not the strangers on the street, it's the people that are closest to you. It's your very own household. It's the very immediate life that you're living and what is directly in front of you every day. That is what you're calling society. You can't point the finger and say, well, it's corrupt corporations and all of this and all of that. It's the simple fact that how you're relating to the people in your life is making you feel bonded and trapped and unable to completely be alone. It's as if you have given yourself up to parents, friends, families, your job. All of these relationships somehow have a stake in you. You're created by them, and you don't like who you are in relation to these external objects. So, to free yourself from that, you're thinking, let's get the fuck away from these external objects. Leave my family, leave my friends, leave my job, leave my boss, leave my teacher, leave everything behind and get far away as possible. I hope I'm making sense with this, so please follow along. We are not going to be able to run away from those relationships. Even if you get 1,000 kilometers into the jungle and you're completely alone, they will still occupy your mind, and you will not be able to just have these people disappear, because who you are is a product of your relationship with these people. So what does need to happen is there needs to be a certain death that does occur, and the death that occurs is of who you take yourself to be in relationship to the environment that you find yourself in. So the sick man, the one who's unhealthy, who's feeling trapped, bonded, unwell, depressed, as you're saying, might feel that the solution is to run away from where he is. But he can't run away from himself. So what we want is to be healthy and remain untouched by the environment that we find ourselves in. I hope I'm making sense. So when you say that you want to disappear and be alone with God, you've got to look closely at who you actually are. Who is this one that wants to disappear? And see, really honestly, when you look at your life and your experience, how the object in which you're perceiving in the world around you simultaneously creates you. There is no static you. So when you're around your mum, you think mum, and when you conceive of your mum, you become the son in relationship to your mum. When you look at the food on the table and you desire it, that food that you're seeing on the table creates the hungry one. When you then feel that your boss is dominating you, when you look at your boss, you are simultaneously creating yourself, which is the one who allows himself to be dominated by the boss. So what I'm getting at is this: it's not about getting away from all these external things. It's to stop allowing yourself to be created by those external objects around you. And when that happens, when you see that you only exist in relationship to the objects that you perceive, then you will recognize then that if you stop doing this, you disappear. Okay? It's like you only can know that you are in relationship to the appearance of a world. It's like in deep sleep, there is no universe, there is no world, but there's also at the same time no knowledge that you are. So you only know that you are because there is a perception of an external world. So when you are saying here that you want to be alone with God and disappear, I totally hear what you're saying, but you're looking in the wrong direction. It has nothing to do with heading into the wilderness and starving and being homeless and all this type of thing. What you're looking for is to just stop being what you are, which is that entity that is always shape-shifting depending on the objects he's being perceived. The world is continually creating you. You have no solid grounding that is independent of the continual flux of self that is created based upon your perception of the world. That's where the whole idea of God comes in, the whole idea of identifying as a lover of God, for example. It's to no longer allow the world to create you and allow you to then become something that you are seemingly wanting to abandon and renounce, this one who's feeling trapped by society, feeling that all these different external things have a stake in you. It's to withdraw that, and by withdrawing that, you find yourself alone with God. And to be alone with God, it's not some another worldly conceptual thing. It's just the opposite of allowing yourself to be a creation of the world, to be a creation of society, to be the hungry one, the thirsty one, and next minute the horny one, the next minute the angry one, the frustrated. It's to stop the external world from continually making you into something that you don't like, which you're telling me you want to run away from and disappear. Just see how dominated you are by the world and recognize that it's you who is giving these objects around you in your perception the capacity to create you. And when you see that, it's all in your hands. You're giving this object, for example, in front of you that you're calling mum, and associating with that all this baggage of memories and conditioning, and allowing this object to then make you feel small and narrow, like a son, in relation to her expectations and how you've always behaved around her and all this kind of stuff. You don't need to run away from all of this into the wilderness. You just need to see that you're allowing yourself to change based on that which is in front of you. And if you can stop that completely, then you, who you've known yourself to be, surely will disappear and you will be alone. And that people have poetically called to be alone with God. You can call that then peace. It's as if the whole world around you no longer has an ability to sink its teeth into you, to grip you, to pull you, and mold you and shape you into what it wants you to be. You now just are free and independent, and you can now remain where you are, because the world that you're wanting to escape from is just a creation of your own mind based on who you think you are in relationship to the objects that you perceive. You can just be here in the wilderness. The wilderness, the emptiness, the unknown is just the opposite of, it's the same space. I'm still sitting here right now in my home at the table in front of my computer, recording this on my phone. I'm still in the same geographical location, but I can choose to be here and allow these objects around me to make me, or I can remain here in the wilderness alone with God. And being alone with God, yet remaining within the, in quotation marks, society, is the true freedom. It's to walk around healthy in a sick world. It's to walk around free with the strength and power of a lion here in this world. It's to walk in the Spirit of God, and it's to bring health and strength and clarity and peace into a sick world. And that's what gives it meaning. Running away and trying to escape and starving yourself in the jungle it's not going to do anything at all. It is just the wrong idea, the wrong solution to the inner deep calling that you are feeling, which is to withdraw from allowing the world, or Maya, or however you want to put it symbolically, from allowing it to have its dominance on you, to step back, pull back, and just stop. Stop doing all that you're doing already. That's to remain in the wilderness. I hope that makes some sense, man. It was just a bit too much to write out for me, but yeah, let me know.